So today we're at one of my favorite coffee shops in Da Nang. This place is called Nia Coffee, and we're doing something a little bit different today. So today I'm gonna answer all the most common questions that I get, maybe even dip into some of the more obscure questions. And I've also got a big announcement that I'm really excited to talk about later, but let's get into a couple questions first. So first of all, lots of questions about the weather in northern Vietnam after the typhoon. People are asking if they should still do their trip that they had planned for October, November. So yeah, it's been 2 weeks since the typhoon, end of September now. Almost everything's back up and running. It's exactly what I expected. Everybody, all the locals up there will be working around the clock to get things back to normal. And I'm already hearing good things that everything's pretty much good to go. So to have a storm like that in September in northern Vietnam is super rare. And actually, this is probably the best time of the year to visit northern Vietnam. It's very like autumn weather. So definitely October, November, everything's good, everything's safe. You can still go to Sapa, Ha Long Bay, carry on as usual. How do you make a living there in Vietnam? So a lot of people ask what I do for money. How do I live in Vietnam long term? So I have a degree in behavior analysis. I taught autistic children for a long time. I came to Vietnam to work privately for one family in Hanoi. I did that for 4 years. And eventually that kid was good to go. He didn't need me anymore. So I decided to get out of Hanoi. I wanted to change the scenery. Came down here to Da Nang by the beach. And I just decided to take some time off of teaching and see if I can make this YouTube thing work full time. So that's where I'm at now. A lot of people ask me questions about teaching English. So unfortunately, I've never taught English here, so I don't know that scene very well. So right now I'm living off savings and hope we can get this thing going. So please support. Okay. So let me talk about my announcement. So I started this new travel group on a platform called school.com. It's been up for about 2 weeks now. We've got 50 members. I'm super excited about it. I want this to be the best place on the internet to go to find any information about Vietnam. So inside that group, you can message me directly. You can ask any questions that you have. You can think of it kind of like a Facebook group, except you can message me and all the other members directly really easily. And there's no annoying promos and stuff for businesses and people trying to sell you airport shuttles and stuff like that. So it's just a really well-designed platform that we can all talk about our experience, talk about our best recommendations. So all my guides and recommendations and all that stuff, I'm gathering all my information, everything that I know from living in Vietnam. I'm putting it all there. So check out the link, it'll be in the description. Join the group, I think it's really cool. And if you've got a trip coming up, I think it's gonna be really helpful. Okay, T-Box Express says, at the 10-minute mark, was he smoking opium? So he's referring to this video I did, a motorbike trip in the mountains in northern Vietnam. So in northern Vietnam, they grow this wild tobacco up in the mountains, and it's super common. Like 90% of men in northern Vietnam will smoke these wooden bongs of mountain tobacco like every day. If you go around Hanoi, you'll see it all the time. At any coffee shop, restaurants, bia hois, places like that, there's always a community like wooden bong, and they'll usually have bags of tobacco just for free laying around. So anybody can just go grab the bong whenever they want it, pack up a pipe. Yeah, it doesn't get you high, but it's super strong tobacco, so it gives you a crazy head rush. There's tons of videos of foreigners trying to do it, and then they stand up, start spazzing out, and fall over. Don't be an idiot, don't be like that. It's super strong, so I don't recommend it. I've done it a handful of times. So talking about my girlfriend, why does she speak perfect English? I'm just curious. Well, she studied English when she was a kid. A lot of people speak pretty good English, especially young people here in Vietnam. So if you asked her, she would tell you her English is terrible, but her conversational English is really good. May I ask, so hard to find the right answer. What do I need to drive a 50cc scooter? So driving legally in Vietnam, to drive a 50cc, which is the smallest bike, anybody can do it. You don't need a license, don't need anything, but plenty of people drive. Regular scooters are about 100 or 110 on average. People drive those all the time without a license. Anybody will rent you a bike without a license. So it's pretty easy to drive in Vietnam. Just don't be an idiot, wear a helmet. Visa questions. Does the $25 single entry visa allow a 90-day stay? So the tourist visa is 90 days, no longer, no shorter. But you have to put in your dates manually. So if you only say that you're gonna be in for 30 days, they're gonna grant you the visa for only 30 days. So whenever you're filling out the application, go ahead and fill it out for 90 days, no matter what, just to give yourself a little time on the back end, just in case you change plans, whatever, you might as well. Same price no matter what. Can you do a video if foreigners can own property or if they can open a bank account to get 7% yield? So foreigners can buy apartments here. You get a 50-year lease, and then after the 50 years, you can either renew it or sell it to a Vietnamese. But foreigners cannot buy houses or property. Of course, if you marry a Vietnamese, then you can buy whatever you want. Also, foreigners can open a bank account even on just the tourist visa, but you do not get the interest rate unless you have a longer, like a work permit, a 2-year residency card, then you can get the higher interest rate. Brazil Insider Now says, no knives in Da Nang, dude. So you might notice whenever I'm eating, I'll always be pulling apart meat with my hands or maybe stabbing it with a fork and a spoon. I don't know why, I never thought about it, but there's never any knives at the table. Spoons, forks, and chopsticks. I'm going to Hanoi next year. When's the best time to apply for a visa? Give yourself at least a month. You might as well just apply for the visa whenever you have your dates completely settled. It's a good chance your visa will get denied the first time. You'll have to make some updates. So give yourself a couple weeks so you don't have to worry about it. John Cumner, I'm traveling to Da Nang next February. I come from a small country town in Australia where there's really no culture or expectations for tipping. Yeah, so in tipping, not part of the culture here. It's not expected. A lot of times if you give extra money, they'll hand it back to you and they'll be really confused why you gave them extra money. So having a meal out, you do not have to tip. Most things you don't have to tip. The only exception would be if you hire a tour guide or maybe you hire a private driver to take you around to a couple of different spots. At the end of a day, if the tour guide was really good, you can give them a little extra tip. Maybe 10% of the total price per person, probably be a good rule of thumb. All right, I get this question a lot. When you get denied for an application for the visa, do you have to start over and pay again? No, so even if you get denied 3-4 times in a row and you gotta fix a date here or an address here or your picture here, you can just go into the site and amend the application. You don't have to pay again. Only if the visa gets approved, but your name is wrong or anything is wrong on the visa that's been approved, there's no way to fix it. You have to restart, do a brand new application, and then you'll have to pay again. What about health insurance? All right, so I learned my lesson the hard way. A couple weeks ago, I broke my face and ended up in the hospital. So there's 2 options for health insurance. If you're here long-term, you can get covered by Vietnamese health insurance. It's really cheap, reasonable prices. Think about $100 to $200 a year will cover your, like an emergency, an accident, if you have to get some kind of surgery. If you're coming kind of short term, maybe a 1 to 3 months, there's some different options just for travel insurance. So I'll put a link down below for travel insurance. Definitely get insurance because you never know what's gonna happen. Motorbike accidents, obviously, are super common here. Shit can go wrong. Get insurance, you'll feel better about it. Honest question, isn't it sketchy to have the meat just sitting out? So like in the local markets, the meat's just sitting out. I bought a lot of meat from the markets, never had a problem. It usually gets butchered like that morning and then it's laid out for a couple hours and it's usually sold by the late afternoon. They've always got like a fan on it to keep bugs off and stuff like that. So yeah, obviously people eat it every day. So what gym is it that you went to? So I go to a really nice gym in town called Elite Fitness. It's really expensive. It's probably overpriced. The only reason that I go to this gym, it's because it's the only gym that has a really nice ice bath, like ice plunge area. And they have sauna and yoga classes and a swimming pool and everything else you would want in a nice gym. But it's very expensive unless you sign up for a year. And then it's still expensive, but kind of reasonable. But if you're here just for a month, it's gonna be like $80 a month, so probably not worth it. There's other good gyms in town, so unless you're like me and you have to have an ice bath, yeah, there's a lot of options for gyms. Again, weather in Vietnam, does it get this type of weather, strong storms often? Now it's rainy season in Da Nang, so there'll be probably 6 to 8 big storms in a 3 or 4 month period that'll come. So does it rain a lot? Should we come to Da Nang during the rainy season? Well, it's been rainy and overcast for a couple days, and then today is bright and sunny, blue skies, perfect. So I think that's about the norm. You'll get 2 or 3 days, cloudy, kind of shitty, a little bit of rain, then you'll still get a really good day here and there. So I definitely think you should still come. Maybe if you're in Vietnam, you can look ahead, and if you see that a huge storm is going to be hitting and it's going to be pouring rain for 5 days, then maybe don't come. But you've got a good chance to get a good day of weather here and there. Someone asked if there's gangs in Vietnam. A lot of people ask all the time, is it safe here? Someone just the other day said, what do I do with all my belongings when I go out? Like, how do I keep things safe? Like, you lock the door. Nobody's gonna break into your apartment here. Vietnam is ridiculously safe. And I'll just give you like the quick rundown on why that is. There's no drug problems here. There's no people that are addicted to drugs. And most people are not super poor and desperate where they need to go out and steal stuff. On average, it's a very low level of income, but the large majority of people have a place to stay. They've got food to eat. So everybody's covering the basic minimums. There's not many homeless people here. There's always people around, so people are gonna come and fuck you up if you try to do something. So is there some crime here and there? Of course, there's little things. Sometimes people are breaking into businesses overnight when they know nobody's there, but almost every single time they get caught on camera. People post, hey, check this out. They get caught all the time. And again, that's another deterrent of why people don't do it, because you're gonna get caught. So yeah, things are safe here. Nothing to worry about. What do you do during the rainy season? So that's a good question now that it's rainy season. Sit around at coffee shops, sit around at bars. If you're visiting, you could check out some museums. You could check out a handful of really good markets in town, you know, that are covered. You could do all your shopping there. If you've got kids, there's an indoor water park, a tiny bit outside of town called like Mitazuki Water Park, something like that. Movie theaters and indoor bowling alleys and stuff like that, arcades and stuff like that. That's good options if you have kids. And like I said, hopefully you'll get a nice day of decent weather so you can still go to the beach. I'm 40 years old. Is it too late for me to find a date in Vietnam? Say someone who's about 28. Hey, I like your style, buddy. It's never too late. 40 years old? Come on, man. I'm almost 40 and I'm not worried about it. Plenty of time. Yeah, how did you originally learn about Vietnam as a good place to live? So like I mentioned, I got a job offer here. Never knew how it would go, but I was always really interested in living in Asia. Honestly, from the moment I arrived here, I go, oh man, I might be done with America. This could be the spot. And yeah, I think I'll live here forever. You know, it took probably 2 years of living here before I kind of felt like I fit in, felt comfortable here. It's still chaos every day. At least it was in Hanoi. Da Nang is a lot more chill. But yeah, Vietnam's amazing. So obviously I'm trying to tell people about it. So yeah, let's end it there. I think that's good. If you guys like this kind of video, I'll do these more often. I could go on forever how many questions there are. So check out the school group. Look for the link in the description. Subscribe to the channel. I'll see you soon. Peace.